Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2025 Annual Meeting of Stockholders of GBank Financial Holdings, Inc., which will include the second quarter 2025 earnings conference call. My name is Shauna Ferguson, and I'm the operator for today's meeting. During today's call, all parties will remain in a listen-only mode. As a reminder, this conference call is being recorded. We appreciate you joining our combined annual stockholders meeting and a repeat of our quarterly earnings call. With me here today are Ed Nigro, our Executive Chairman, and Ryan Sullivan, our President and Chief Executive Officer. The related Q2 earnings press release was filed with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on Monday, July 28, 2025, and is available on the News and Media section of our website, gbankfinancialholdings.com. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that any forward-looking statements are subject to risks, uncertainties, and other factors that could cause actual results to differ materially from those anticipated future results. Please see our safe harbor statements in our earnings press release. All comments expressed or implied made in today's call are subject to those safe harbor statements. Any forward-looking statements made during this call are made only as of today's date, and we do not undertake any duty to update such forward-looking statements except as required by law. Additionally, during today's call, we may discuss certain non-GAAP financial measures, which we believe are useful in evaluating our performance. A reconciliation of these non-GAAP financial measures to the most comparable GAAP financial measures can also be found in our earnings release. I would now like to turn the call over to Edward N. Nigro, Executive Chairman of GBank Financial Holdings, Inc.
Good afternoon. I'm Ed Nigro, and I'd like to welcome our stockholders, employees, and invited guests to our 2025 annual meeting of stockholders for GBank Financial Holdings, Inc. Therefore, will the meeting please come to order? First, I would really like to recognize our directors who play such a vital part in overseeing our corporation. Todd Nigro, our Vice Chairman, Lee Finley, Chuck Reed, Bill Hornbuckle, Catherine Katie Lieber, Jim Sims, Alan Sklar, Mike Voinovich, and Ryan Sullivan. You know, we are very fortunate to have such talented and dedicated leadership as we do with our directors, and they indeed form our culture and contribute significantly to our long-term success. I also want to recognize two, in particular, advisors who are here today with us via remote communication. The first is Beth Whitaker. She's our counselor with Hunton, Andrews, and Curran, and has been very much an advisor for us in our latest undertaking with the SEC and NASDAQ. And also, I want to welcome Dean Apostolopoulos. He's our senior partner with RSM, who has also joined us. Thank you very much for all your contributions. They're very much appreciated. Shauna. I believe we'll discuss our rules of conduct.
Now moving on to the business portion of the annual meeting. Our board set June 13, 2025 as the record date for voting at this annual meeting. Only persons who are stockholders of GBank Financial Holdings, Inc. on June 13, 2025 are entitled to vote at the annual meeting. The proxy statement of this annual meeting was filed with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on July 2, 2025. On or about July 2, 2025, the company caused to be mailed to each stockholder a notice of this meeting along with the proxy statement and proxy card. The Board of Directors has designated Todd A. Nigro, the Secretary of the company, to act as Secretary of the annual meeting. In addition, your Board of Directors has designated Shauna Ferguson to act as the Inspector of Elections at the annual meeting and to report on the results of our votes, which have been tabulated. In order to ensure the orderly and businesslike progression of the meeting, I would ask that you please follow the rules of conduct of this meeting, which are available on the company's website at gbankfinancialholdings.com. As previously disclosed, stockholders were permitted to submit written questions to Shauna Ferguson via email by Wednesday, July 30, 2025 at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, which was extended to Thursday, July 31, 2025 at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, per the Form 8-K, which was filed by the company with the SEC on July 29, 2025. Pursuant to the rules of conduct for this meeting, each stockholder will be limited to no more than one question. We will try to answer all questions pertinent to the business of the annual meeting, subject to time constraints. Chairman Nigro would ask that any stockholders who are present by means of remote communication and who have not delivered a proxy and who would like to vote, do so by voting electronically during this meeting by going to the website www.investorvote.com/gbfh and following the instructions for internet voting on that website. We would like to emphasize that if you have already voted, there is no need to vote now.
Thank you, Shawna. Before I get into the business of the meeting today, we have some business to address, and that was our second quarter earnings call. We had a most unfortunate incident occur that disrupted the call. The call had to be terminated, and then we restarted it. Unfortunately, quite a few on the call were unable to rejoin the meeting. So if you will bear with us, what we want to do right now is to review and to give you the second quarter earnings call, or some key points of it that you may have missed had you not been able to sign in. I'll discuss the payments and gaming fintech operations, and Ryan's going to lead us off by discussing key financials that drove our second quarter results. Ryan.
Great. Thank you, Ed, and welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining the call. Before I begin, I would like to take a moment just to thank our incredible lending teams, as well as our clients and our partners, for helping us reach a very important milestone in the most recent quarter. You may have seen that we exceeded over $160 million in new SBA and commercial loans, newly loans originated during the quarter. That is an amazing record, and it's an achievement that is only possible through the efforts of many, many people. So thank you so much to all of you. As reported, our Q2 earnings were approximately $4.8 million. That's an increase compared to the prior quarter's earnings of $4.5 million. Included in the quarter's results are approximately $290,000 pre-tax in operating expenses related to our transition to becoming an SEC registered company, and that compared to approximately $800,000 of those expenses during the prior quarter. Net revenue for the quarter, although a bit below where we had hoped, was actually a record at $17.8 million, and that is up 2% and 15% compared to the prior linked and year-over-year quarters, respectively. As we think about the individual revenue components, net interest income reached $12.4 million for the quarter, and that was mainly due to a larger balance sheet. Net interest margin declined during Q2 to 4.31%, which was down from 4.47% in Q1. The change in margin was really driven by the asset side, with loan yields declining due to an acceleration of realized deferred costs, and also the investment yields declined to 4.73% as we continue to build the composition of our securities portfolio in a way to help address our asset sensitivity. Additionally, total non-interest income went down to $5.4 million for Q2, and that compares to $5.5 million for Q1. As we look at the individual components of that, first of all, gain on sale of loans for the quarter was $2.6 million. We did experience a high level of loan sales volume during Q2 at $82.1 million, and that was offset by a GAAP gain on sale percentage decline down to 3.16%. That gain on sale percentage was actually near an all-time low. For comparison, last year's Q2 gain on sale percentage was 4.36, and if we would have had that price in the most recent quarter, it would have translated to an increase in our pre-tax gain on sale revenue of approximately $1 million. We did see the gain on sale pricing for the quarter appear to be affected by some continued volatility in the secondary market, which we believe is driven by the market's expectation of shorter SBA loan lives, as well as some credit concerns on SBA loans overall. We continue to outperform, however, on credit, especially in comparison to the largest SBA lenders in the country, many of whom are reporting relative recent charge-off levels that are 2 and sometimes even 3 times that of GBank's year-to-date charge-offs levels. On the matter of credit, we did see a reduction of our NPAs, net of guarantees, which were down to $4.6 million at June 30, which was 0.37% of total assets. As we think about SBA activity for us in the future, we are encouraged to be positioned where we are, which is with continued strong volumes and pipelines to benefit when the market does improve. In the meantime, we'll focus on the things that we can control, namely improving loan spreads and managing our origination costs. Also, as reported, net interchange was impacted by the operational enhancements undertaken during the quarter. We are encouraged by our progress here, though, and Ed will address some of those details in the gaming and fintech and credit card discussion in just a few moments. Total non-interest expense for the quarter totaled $10.4 million, and that was down approximately $500,000 compared to Q1. We did see some progress in our overall operating leverage during the quarter. We saw our efficiency ratio improve to 58.5% in comparison to 62.8% in quarter one. Moving quickly to the balance sheet, the company did generate over $28 million in total net loan growth during the quarter, while total assets increased by 3.6%. Total assets at the end of the quarter were at $1.23 billion. Our shareholders' equity grew by 3.5% for the quarter to $151.7 million. Also, our quarterly average earning assets increased by $72.3 million compared to the prior quarter. Our book value per share increased as of June 30th to $10.63. Our on-balance sheet guaranteed loan balances ended the quarter at $237.6 million, which equates to approximately 22% of total loans. Additionally, liquidity continues to be strong. Our on-balance sheet liquidity actually went up quarter over quarter. In fact, total liquidity, including both on and on-balance sheet sources, increased to $802 million as of June 30th. That equates to approximately 77% of total deposits. Included in that figure is over $520 million in untapped borrowing capacity that we have available through the FHLB, the Fed, and various Fed funds lines. So really overall, as a quarter of strong production and growth, with some really important work that is being done to set us up well for future quarters. And with all of that, I will kick it back over to you.
Thank you, Ryan. I know that our results were affected primarily by the things that Ryan mentioned, but also a very important impact was our gaming side and was our credit card. Now, in the first quarter, we announced 105 million in transactions, which resulted in 2 million in net interchange income. Well, that dropped in the second quarter to 82 million and 1.5 million in net interchange income. So instead of an increase, we saw a decline. Now, I said at the first quarter meeting that we were going to have no growth in the second quarter in our credit card division. I did not say it was going to decline by 20 million. However, I did indicate that we were going to enhance our automated system because of our new onboarding procedures with social media. We had to, in order to release our new marketing programs. We had to enhance our fraud protection. We had to enhance our rewards abuse monitoring. We had to enhance our application processing in order to have a smoother action of onboarding new cardholders. We had to, in essence, really refine the program to make sure that as we started to unleash some of our marketing abilities and gain significant growth in cards, that we were managing the cards correctly. We did not need a hiccup. We showed that by doing this, we did have an impact of reducing some of our interchange activity. We relaunched some of our marketing, an important part of our marketing, in the third week of June. And June saw transactions of approximately 29 million for the month. Well, the month of July, I indicated on the call, was showing significant growth already. As a matter of fact, we'll be close to the 38.5 million number that we were estimating for the month of July. Since July is just about over, I don't have all the final numbers, but at the call, I indicated that we were on course for approximately a $38 to $39 million month, which was 35% in round numbers ahead of the prior month. So we can see that if we were approaching 40 million in the month of July, that's almost 50% of the entire quarter's transactions for the second quarter of 82 million. So we believe that while these enhancements have been sufficient to enable us to reopen our marketing efforts, we also know that we want to enhance them even further. And we have started a process of implementing a complete new underwriting, a complete new automation of our credit card apps. And those will be done by the beginning of the fourth quarter. We also are starting to launch more and more marketing as we speak. So we fully expect our growth patterns to gain momentum again as they have in the past. And we believe that the card growth is going to remain substantial. The interesting thing I said, and I needed to correct it, was that the seasonality adjustment can have an impact on our transactions. And that is a bit inadvertent comment because I was really referring to the seasonality we had when we were a very big prepaid card issuer with Sightline. Back in 22 and 23, when right after March Madness, we saw a tremendous decline in gaming activity. Well, the gaming world is changing very quickly. What used to be slow times, they're even making them more active in betting. What used to be one wager on a baseball game, or whether you win or lose it, is now turned into a wager every inning or almost every batter. So there's a lot of activity that is happening in the industry that's making it far more exciting and far more player involvement. And as a result, we're seeing transactions increase significantly. We believe we'll be very well positioned to be part of that transaction growth. I'm going to leave credit card for a moment now and turn to our slot program. You know, we had discussed our pool player accounts and the very uniqueness of our account administration at GBank for gaming participants or participants who like to have activity on various sports betting apps. If you recall, we used to discuss how we took the state of Oregon's the state lottery system live in sports betting in 2019. And we solved their problems of who would hold the funds and who would administer the funds by developing our pool player accounts. Our custodial account system in which we at the bank hold and manage the funds and distribute the results of the activities of the day. Well, that is happening in the slot program, first time ever. No slot program right now has the slot proceeds managed and held at a bank under an FDIC insured account. Well, the Gaming Control of the state of Nevada, the Gaming Control Board, and the Gaming Commission, well, they're probably the gold standards of the country. They are very, very detailed and very thorough in what they do. And they too have never seen this system before. It has not been operating for a licensed entity in the state of Nevada. So the process of approving and getting gaming approval of the process by BoltBetz has been drawn out longer than anyone had anticipated. But at the same time, in giving all the players their due respect, it is a new system. It has not been done before. But we do, as I said in the meeting, now anticipate Gaming Control Board approval, hopefully coming in the not too distant future. We have learned that BoltBetz and has been making great strides in that achievement. And the sooner it happens, the sooner our slot program launches. Now, the slot program and the BoltBetz pattern of operation where instead of the gaming operator holding the funds on the slot machine at the gaming operator's bricks and mortar casino, the bank will hold those funds. And we had indicated that our studies, and I put my old gaming hat on, I was in the industry for 17 years, and I was in it when slot machines were really old slot machines. I mean, coin in, the coin noise. And we had terms which are still used today in terms of slot machine drop. And what did the drop mean? Which was the tool that we used to determine how much cash we had on hand. So using those numbers, we have determined, and even using a penetration rate that's relatively small and using denominations that are lower than the concentrated numbers of taverns for larger casinos, that we estimate, and we think they're very reasonable estimates, that we would indicate deposits of somewhere around $2,500 per, 2.5 million per 100 machines. So if we had 100 machines that had a 50% market penetration or less, we would generate about 2.5 million in deposits. Now, we also indicated, and you've known from before, that the bulk bet system is tied to the Konami CMS. And the Konami CMS is the casino management system. And that is very important because the Konami machines utilize the Konami CMS. And so that is a very important market and a very important agreement. And if you look at the bulk bets at a press release that went out on July the 8th, I believe, and in that press release, they talk about the relationship with Bank Card Services, GBank, and Konami. So we anticipate, as this program achieves regulatory approval, that we will see the growth of the BOBETS application platform. It is the only one in the world that works like it does, and it works very well. Just in one last remark, we have our gaming fintech division, and we do have a pipeline of businesses that we're looking at. Very important payments world. As those of you who follow the payments world at all know, there's some pretty exciting things happening. You've seen the Genius Act, which has been passed by Congress now regarding stablecoin. We're forming our own stablecoin task force. We need to understand and know it, and understand how it's relative to our payment systems. We have prepaid programs still being boarded and coming on for our new customers. So we look for a continued growth in our gaming fintech division. Interesting though, I think if some of you have noticed, Apollo, who's a name we all know as a equity investment company, just purchased IGT and Every. IGT was buying Every, and Apollo just bought IGT and Every. And that process is taking place. And as you know, earlier they bought Venetian. So they're making a very important play in bricks and mortar, slot machine manufacturing and software systems, and the largest cash management system, which is Every, that manages the cash for most of the strip casinos. Now, the interesting part of that is, what does Apollo see? And I think they see just what we see in our gaming fintech division. We want to be involved, and we are involved in the payments process for sports wagering, and most importantly, for the future, we believe, of slot machine wagering, cashless wagering with an app that is really special. So with that, I think that we still have some very significant goals to achieve, and we're still continuing and working towards those. And we don't see anything that's going to change other than timing in terms of how we anticipate that growth. So with that, I want to thank once again all of our staff and our employees who work so hard to make all of these programs work, especially when you don't have the luxury of looking at another bank where they work, because they are at no other bank. And we also want to thank our new stockholders for your confidence in us. You know, we made a very big transition onto NASDAQ and also now on the Russell 2000. And thank you very much for your confidence and for many, many new funds that own us. And we hope you're on the call. Having said that, I think we'll now address the, there were a couple of questions that were sent in with respect to the second quarter report. And I'll read those three questions and answer them right now, if I may. The first question was, last quarter I mentioned Q2 would be soft on the credit card side, not just because of seasonality, but also technical issues that needed to be addressed. According to the press release, these issues have been fixed. Can you give us some kind of guidance for the remainder of the year on what sort of growth we now see over the credit card over the next 2 to 4 quarters? Well, I wish I could give you guidance that far in advance, but I think my comments really address that question on the credit card. It's not a question of fixing our issues. We enhanced them, and we did, of course, see the results that I mentioned as part of that process. We're back on track, we believe, and as I mentioned, the results of July, we believe, are indicative of the growth of future months. Question number 2, regarding bolt bets, if approved by the Gaming Commission, what could we expect over the next 2 to 4 quarters as far as getting players on board using the app? What should we look for as far as signing on players? Well, I think with the bolt bets, the agreement we have with bolt bets, as in their press release, is with bolt bets, bank card services, and the bank. And it's up to, and bolt bets has an agreement with various gaming operators. So the signing up process is really that of bolt bets and the gaming operator. So the gaming operator is a very, very important part of this process. And the effort and interest that the gaming operator has is going to mandate how fast the players adjust. One of the things we noticed that, as I said, that on businesses like taverns and local businesses, there's going to be, we think, a higher penetration and participation by the players because of the frequency of visits. On the big gaming institutions on the Strip, we think there'll probably be a slower penetration because of the less frequent visits that they have. But there's also a very big market called tribal gaming market. And most of the tribal gaming facilities are local, and some of them have 3,000 and 4,000 and 5,000 slot machines. They're not small entities. So that is another important market, and also an important market for Konami. Konami CMS. Konami has 140,000 slot machines in the U.S. The state of Nevada has 150,000 alone. It is said that across the U.S. at all of the gaming institutions, there's probably close to 800,000 slot machines. So those are all big numbers, and we're not pretending that we're going to get, an X% of that market. What we do know is that the gaming operators that do like this program and that do sign up for them, we believe will want, especially the more local operators, will want a bigger penetration. But for right now, we're keeping our sights very reasonable, and I believe that as we see some of the results, you'll be able to make better projections. But right now, since it's not operating, I really have no guidance. Question 3, would you please provide some color on the Konami deal? How many slots are expected to translate into how much in deposits? And again, I think I've covered the Konami deal, because the Konami transaction with bolt bets is strictly based on the Synchro system, which is their casino management system. And the ability to tie that in as their fundamental platform was really important. It's a really great relationship that exists. The bank has no direct relationship with Konami, nor Konami's machines, nor their deposits. Remember, that's the gaming operator and bolt bets. I hope I've clarified that. And those were the 3 questions that I had to answer. Now now I'm going to get back to the business at hand and the determination of a quorum. Shauna.
There are present by means of remote communication or by proxy at this meeting the holders of at least 10,192,498 shares, or 72.59% of the total number of outstanding shares of the company entitled to vote at this meeting. As such, I can confirm that a quorum is present at this meeting for all purposes in accordance with the company's bylaws.
Well, thank you, Shauna. So the notice has been properly given, a quorum is present, and this meeting's been properly convened. I would like to make a motion actually to waive the reading of the minutes of the 2024 annual meeting of stockholders that was held back in May the 7th, 2024. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Reading of the proposals. We do have two proposals on the agenda today. First is to elect 3 Class 3 directors. The Class 3 directors will be serving for 3 years until 2028 annual meeting. And the 3 directors nominated are Katie Lever, Todd Nigro, and Alan Sklar. There were no other nominations of candidates for election to the Board of Directors in accordance with our bylaws. The second proposal is to ratify the Audit Committee's appointment of RSM as the company's independent registered accounting firm for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2025. I would like to make a motion to vote for the approval of the 2 proposals to be considered at this annual meeting. Can I get a second?
I second.
Again, if you've not voted and wish to do so, please vote now. If you have submitted a proxy, you don't need to submit another vote. Did I declare? Okay, in closing the polls and the voting report, it appears that the votes for the proposals have been tabulated. I would like to ask Shauna to give, as the Inspector of Elections, to give us the preliminary results.
A preliminary tabulation has been completed, and I can report at this time that of the 7,248,326 shares voted by means of remote communications or by proxy at this meeting, not less than 6,724,232, or approximately 92.77%, have been voted in favor of the total slate of Class 3 directors to serve for a 3-year term until the 2028 annual meeting of stockholders, or each until their respective successor or successors are duly elected and qualified, or until their earlier death, resignation, or removal from office.
Well, thank you, Shauna. And based on the results, I'm pleased to announce that a plurality of the votes cast by those entitled to vote have voted for the election of Katie Lever, Todd Nigro, and Alan Sklar to serve as Class 3 directors until our 2028 annual meeting. Congratulations to the 3 of you. Shauna, could you now please report on the second vote?
A preliminary tabulation has been completed, and I can report at this time that of the 10,192,498 shares voted by means of remote communication or by proxy at this meeting, not less than 10,151,894 shares, or approximately 99.61%, have been voted to ratify the Audit Committee's appointment of RSM US LLP as the company's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025.
Thank you very much, Shauna. And I declare that the Audit Committee appointment of RSM as the company's independent registered public accounting firm has been approved and voted for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2025. It's been ratified. Congratulations to RSM. There's no other business has been presented in accordance with the procedures required under our bylaws. And accordingly, the formal part of this annual meeting is declared adjourned. I want to thank everyone very much, all of you, for attending this annual meeting of GBank Financial Holdings. And Shauna, I believe you can conclude the annual meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes. This concludes the 2025 annual meeting of the stockholders of GBank Financial Holdings, Inc. Thank you for your attendance.
Thank you.